What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, back again with some Orlando Magic daily content for you guys. I had some really great responses on my first one. If you guys didn't see, broke down some game tape between Cole Anthony and RJ Hampton. They were actually the highest rated offensive duo for the team last year, including any one of the combinations with Aaron Gordon, Evan Fournier, and Vucevic, which was really interesting. And I showed, a lot of reasons why that was. Going to keep continuing that trend here, and of course there will be another article in tandem with this. This is really just a supporting piece, but also a lot of fun, of course. So as you guys probably knew, there was the Summer League that happened here in Vegas. I actually live in Vegas. I wasn't able to go, but clearly some really great things to see from Jalen Suggs. And I'm going to go over some of his highlights here. I'm not going to go over the big flashy ones like the big putback dunk because that's just a great display of athleticism, but not exactly something to analyze or look forward for the team. Jalen Suggs is going to have to fit a very specific role. There's a lot of talent at the guard position, and they're going to try to figure out where he fits. He may be able to do specific things, but they're going to need him to fill a role for this team. Obviously, being the 4th overall pick, expectations are high. I've picked out 6 highlights that I feel are the most important things I would like to see him do more of, especially, when the regular season starts and start to build some chemistry with this team. We're going to start here with the Warriors matchup, which obviously was his most exciting. He had the great block, which I will show in just a bit. But here's the first example, and this one's a little obvious. This is going to be a dribble handoff you're going to see here in just a second. He's going to take the ball and, break down for himself. And I'll go over afterwards, why that's important, and also, how often he should be going to this move. You'll see here he takes the dribble handoff and he breaks down his defender, which is very nice, right? So this is kind of a given in my opinion, and I'll pause it here. He's going to have to do that regardless. If Cole Anthony's not on the court, Cole Anthony creates for himself, of course. That's kind of like his main thing. But that's not always going to be the case, right? He's going to have to be able to do that for himself when he's with RJ Hampton, when he's with Markelle Fultz, if they end up ever doing that when he comes back for injury. He's going to have to do that because there's not a lot of great scorers on Orlando right now. A lot of good defenders. Jonathan Isaac is going to have to come back too, but he's had a big injury as well. Franz Wagner definitely is not someone who's going to, create for himself. He's going to be more of a perimeter-oriented guy and also like a team defender. So him being able to take a defender off the dribble, being able to go into the post because, Mo Bamba is going to be on the team, but he's not really a back-to-the-basket kind of guy. He's an athletic pick-and-roll kind of dude. And he also looked to, build from the outside as well. So the paint's going to be open for him to make those kinds of moves against smaller guards, maybe a John Morant, someone like that who, maybe isn't the biggest, and he can take advantage of that. Offense is one thing and creating for yourself is another thing, but we all know that last year Orlando was not the best team defensively. I believe ranked 26 in defensive efficiency in the entire league. They're going to need to improve a lot. Now, a lot of that was due to the turnover, obviously. There's a new head coach, so definitely going to be some, stumbles here and there, I would imagine, because defense just takes a long time, to get gelled with. And a lot of teams that are put together, even Portland, who's been together for a long time, still hasn't quite figured it out. But obviously very important when it comes to the future, maybe winning a championship one day. You're not going to do that unless your defense is probably in the top 10. And I think that is probably one of the best things that Jalen Suggs and even Wagner are going to bring to the team is that they're going to give a lot of versatility in lineups. Because if you have Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs or Cole Anthony and RJ Hampton, anytime Cole Anthony's in the game, it's going to be more offensive orientated, not defensive. But if you put RJ Hampton and Jalen Suggs together, now you're talking about stretches of game. If you need stops, that's where you're going to want those two to be. And I think the ability to even insert those guys here and there and be able to have different combinations is really unique, and not a lot of teams have that kind of access in terms of their versatility. I'm going to check out another highlight here in that Golden State game. He comes up really big. He's really definitely involved. One of his biggest weaknesses maybe was being a team defender. He was just decent enough, but if he can develop that aspect, we already know he's a great on-ball defender. So take a look at this highlight. So the ball's going to get passed over here, and he's just engaged. He's always there, and his athleticism showed up real big time, obviously, in the Summer League, which was one of the more exciting parts. And, he had a lot of great highlight dunks, but blocking probably isn't going to be one of the biggest things in the world, but those kinds of plays are really what's going to energize this team to be even better. And I'm going to show another block right after this one. So it's going to be absolutely important for him, stealing the ball, just giving that energy on the team. The team lacked a lot of oomph. I would say that Orlando-Memphis game that I was kind of going over in that RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony highlights, that was a really good example of the team kind of feeling it. But other than that, I mean, they had so many different lineups that guys just never really felt excited to play with one another, I think. And I think Jalen Suggs is going to represent just a new era for them to kind of play together and actually build towards something and feel like they're not in purgatory forever. Again, on defense, you're going to see Cole Anthony turn the ball over, and I don't think this will be the last time that he does so. We know he's a little loosey-goosey with the ball at times, maybe take some errant shots, but nonetheless, he's going to be a very important piece for them moving forward, especially if he can hone in his craft and, be a little more efficient at scoring. But here you're going to see a turnover, and just look. Jalen Suggs clearly wants the ball here. He feels like this is his moment. He wants the ball late. Cole Anthony is obviously going to be thinking the same thing. That'll be another interesting dynamic. Two young kids. You only get one shot at the end of the game. Now, I know, like, in Brooklyn, who's going to take that last shot? So maybe it's not as bad as that. But still, eventually this question is going to have to get answered, and someone's going to have to be the primary ball handler for the team. But look at, even after the turnover, just how engaged he is. He's looking. He's like, okay, he's missed a shot. I don't care anymore. I'm not going to get the rebound, but I'm still here. I'm still here. This is a pivotal part of the game. He has that wherewithal, right? Where it's like, oh, I would love to maybe get the offensive rebound and get the three, but it's like, no, they crashed the defensive boards. I see it. And now I'm looking at their running. And just being able to stop on a dime. It's a 2-on-1 fast break in the NBA. That's nothing. I mean, that's always a score. There's nothing you can do. The guys are too athletic. He cuts off the defender. He's there. I'm going to get my defensive stance. And then as soon as he makes that pass, he does a 360 for the block. And obviously, I mean, this game ended up going into overtime. It was a really fun, entertaining game. I watched this full one. But that was an awesome play by him. I'm going to end this with two more offensive plays, which I think, besides the scoring for yourself and the cool dribble moves and all that kind of stuff, this is going to be even more important for the team moving forward. So here's in the game against Cleveland. This play doesn't start off the best. So what you're going to see here is he's going to take a little jump hook shot or a floater, like a kind of in-between type of thing. This is not where you want him taking floaters and mid-range shots, especially with two defenders there. You see Mobley. He's obviously on the play. He knows he's going to be there. So obviously, you can't break down every single player's shots. At some point, everything's going to look bad unless they make it. So I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say I'm sure Coach at the sideline at some point was like, hey, man, maybe there's going to be some open defenders. He makes up for it big time, and you'll see why in just a moment. So here he goes, takes a little hook shot. He gets his own rebound. Instead of looking to take it up because he saw Mobley there, he goes out to Wagner. Now, Wagner wasn't the greatest three-point shooter in college. Obviously, those things can change. You can become a shooter. But Jalen Suggs as a facilitator on the outside is probably going to make or break the franchise, in my opinion. Now, obviously, they're probably going to be in the lottery once again next year. At least that's my prediction. Not saying that, it's the worst thing in the world. They're just a young team, and that's what young teams do. They're building towards a future. Franz Wagner, Isaac, any of those other guys that you can talk about, as long as they start to, build upon something and really make it a pivotal point that they need to start shooting from the outside, that's going to be huge. And I'm not sure Cole Anthony is going to be able to fill that role for the team, honestly. He had a few great passes here and there on the outside, but he's not looking for it. He's looking to score. I know Jalen Suggs probably wants to be a 20-point-per-game scorer. If they can get him down to 15 with 3 more assists, that's going to be huge. Now, you say 15 points with 3 assists, that pretty much comes out to 20 anyway, so what's the difference? Well, your team, teammates trusting you, keeping them engaged in the game, because no one likes to play defense. There's some guys who pride themselves on it, but for the most part, the average NBA player wants to be involved on the offensive side, and the more they are, the more touches they get, the more they're going to want to play defense, in my opinion. So obviously that's not a fact, it's definitely the case, but I would definitely say there's some science to that. I don't think there's any advanced statistics. I'm not huge on those in my personal opinion. So I like the game as more of a pure form. I played in high school, and just like that, those kinds of plays, instead of putting it up, maybe missing it, maybe making it, he finds his teammate open, he finds them ready in the most positive scoring position. He ends up getting a 3 instead of a 2 there at the end of the play, which I think is a really great thing. Here we go again. He's going to play with R.J. Hampton on this play in this Cleveland matchup here at the end of the half. He has all the opportunity in the world. Look, there's no one in the paint. Oh, sorry, my hand is off in the wrong place there. There's nobody in the paint here, right? So he in his mind, I got a bigger defender on me. He's probably going to be a lot slower, and I'm going to go to the basket. Now, he is able to do that, but instead of making a contested layup or attempting one, see what he does different here. There he goes. He breaks him down. He's not going to be able to keep up with him. His defender is completely off balance. The paint was open, but look at his teammate RJ Hampton in the corner, keeping him involved, making sure that, he's not just standing there for no reason. Nobody wants to feel like they're standing in the corner. I can guarantee you that, especially NBA guys, especially RJ Hampton, who's had already a pretty tumultuous beginning of his career. Was pretty touted before the draft, ended up slipping to the Nuggets, traded in his rookie season in the middle of the year, had some up and downs, especially with the team. He got some opportunities late. He's going to want to build a relationship with Jalen Suggs as soon as possible, because those guys are going to create a really nice tandem, in my opinion, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And if Hampton can hit open threes in the corner, then we're talking about something really scary down the line, considering all the other talent they have at the 1 and 2. So, so far I've talked about him looking for players on the perimeter. You saw 2 great examples of him on offense. Well, he's going to have to do some shooting of his own, and I'm not so inclined to talk about, his individual scoring. I think that's going to be fine. We saw plenty of pull-ups from the mid-range in the summer league. We saw a couple of threes. I don't think those are so indicative of the regular season. Like, that's just something you're going to have to see. But nonetheless, he's playing with Cole Anthony here. He's going to have to do this play a whole lot in the regular season. Going in the corner, the pop-up, the catch and shoot. They're going to need that, because especially if he's playing with Cole Anthony, he's going to spend a lot of time with the ball out of his hands, because Cole Anthony's not just going to sit there and hope to get the ball every once in a while. When he gets the ball, he's going to try to attack and do something with it. So that's going to be a key. Jalen Suggs being able to hit open threes, again, is one of those things that I feel are going to make or break Orlando for the future. If Cole Anthony, RJ Hampton, and Jalen Suggs can't collectively shoot around 35%, they're going to struggle a lot for many years to come. Next season, obviously, we all know they're probably going to struggle, and that's going to be a thing. But I'm talking about 5 years down the road. Like, that's what I really care about. When I think of building franchises, I think of them 2 different ways, right? You either, A, you're building towards winning the finals, or B, you're not. So I think Orlando made a lot of great moves last season to build towards the finals. They took a lot of shots on some guys like Wendell Carter. We'll see how that works out this year, and we'll see who even is going to be the starting center. But nonetheless, I liked a lot of what I saw from Jalen Suggs. Not just the big highlight plays, but these ones specifically, I feel, are what they're going to want to look at with the game tape and really try to do to implement him in the offense. Do you guys have any other Orlando Magic daily content you'd like me to go over, some game tape from a specific player? I'd love to do that. You can put your suggestions in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.